got a couple good questions here, but going back to the injuries, we have tons of injury questions. There are two that kind of tie together is that why does it seem like there's so many more arm injuries to pitchers in recent years, despite the fact that teams are so careful not to overuse them? That's number one. The fact that we're trying not to overuse them is somewhat true. The problem is that the places where they're trying not to overuse them, and what you see at the professional level, where they're being somewhat babied, as some people would say, by that point, generally it's too late. All that accumulated stress is already there. And so that's why, when you look at some of the baseball experts, Buck Showalter has said he does not want to recruit baseball-only kids. And we'll talk about that. We have some great questions on specialization because he knows that wear and tear is accumulated, and he's going to break down on his dime. So that's one issue there. So where it's not being monitored is the youth and high school level, where kids are jumping from team to team to team. And Steve can tell you as a coach, if the parent's not coming in and saying, hey, my kid threw last week, he's not aware of where they're at in terms of volume. And so that's where it becomes an issue. That's number one. Number two, it says, are they just getting diagnosed more often? And in the past, did they play through injuries? To a certain extent, that's true. And that because everybody is so much more aware and there's so much more of a social conscious about arm injuries that ESPN is a 24-hour-a-day channel. And I have kids that I coach in all youth sports that are coming up to me and rattling off, like a 10-year-old that knows about what an ACL is and knows about concussions and knows about UCL and Tommy John surgery. You didn't see that 15, 20, 25 years ago. It's so much more in the social consciousness that now we're much more aware of it. There's much more of a apprehension with it. So in football, I coach youth football. As soon as there is any kind of head trauma or contact, we immediately are taught to pull the player out. And if there's any question at all, they're removed from the game. Where when I grew up and played, if you got dinged or you got your bell rung, you stepped out for a play. If you did that at all, you shook it off and you went back in. Now immediately if there's any kind of head trauma, not only do we pull them out, but we go up to mom and dad and say, look, I need you to watch him over the next 24 hours or depending on the severity, say you should probably go get him checked out. And obviously if he goes, now he gets a diagnosis that he would have never gotten 20 years ago because he's not going there. So the same thing happens as soon as we start to feel arm pain. If we're rushing in and we're getting it checked out, maybe we are catching some stuff that wasn't there before, but there's a huge change in the culture of all youth sports, not just baseball, why you're seeing this increase in injuries on all different fronts.